There's something wrong with Zac Gallen. There's something wrong with Zac Gallen. Like, Merrill Kelly doesn't concern me because he's still back, and I'll give Merrill a pass. I need to see more on Merrill, but I am concerned about Zac Gallen. And we keep talking about what the Diamondbacks are going to do for these other rotation spots. Obviously, there's not even it's like Corbin Carroll's struggles early on. There was probably never even a discussion realistically about sending him down to AAA Reno because they knew he was going to come out of it. I feel like they feel that same way out of a guy like Zac Gallen. But Jesse wrote a very interesting piece for GoPHNX.com about Zac Gallen's problems, and of course, he fixed all of them.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks absolutely should hire me because all of Zac Gallen's problems would go away instantly if they just brought me on board.
No,
for sure.
This was not an audition. I didn't mean to co-sign on you. You're not allowed to leave here because I can't obviously do this show without you. You know that. He's going away for like 4 days, and I have to do this show for four times without him. That doesn't seem fair at all. But of course, yes, Zac Gallen. You got to go read the article to truly figure out or hear Jesse's solution. But give us a little taste of what's wrong with it.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't really describe what I wrote as a solution. More of like somewhat identifying the problem. And it all comes down to fastball command. That's really the short version of it. You look at Zac Gallen's first pitch strike percentage this year, it's 56%. Last year, it was 66%. That's a really big drop off. And the difference between an 0-1 count and a 1-0 count is very, very big. Zac Gallen opposing hitters have a 588 OPS this season in counts that start 0-1. Compare that to 822 when the count starts 1-0. So getting ahead is really important for any pitcher in the league, and Zac Gallen is not immune to that. He has not been as good at that this season, and a lot of that has to do with his fastball. I mean, he throws his fastball very frequently in a lot of different situations. He throws it about half the time, throws it about twice as much as any of his other pitches. It's a really important weapon for him. And how many times have we come on this show after a Zac Gallen start over the last year or two and talked about how he didn't have his best stuff, but he kind of made it work anyway.
He still went out there and gave you 5 2/3 innings and only allowed 2 earned runs or something like that. Yeah,
exactly. We've said that time and time again. And I think an underlying narrative that allowed him to do that for so long is that his fastball command has just been really good, basically ever since he came into the league. And not only that, but his fastball is a good swing and miss pitch. I mean, the thing has good upward carry in the zone. The velo isn't elite by any means, but it's certainly good enough, about 93, 94 miles an hour. He's gotten away with some of his other pitches not being there at times because the four-seamer has just been so good, and he could put it wherever he wanted. He could throw it up in the zone to get a swing and miss. He could, dot the inside corner, the outside corner. A well-placed four-seam fastball is a really good pitch, and Gallen just hasn't really had that this season. And you look specifically over this stretch since the beginning of July, where Gallen has a 5.24 ERA over his last 9 starts. That goes to the beginning of July. In that span, Gallen has also really struggled to put guys away with the fastball. It's not just getting ahead with it, although that is certainly part of the problem. It's also putting guys away with that pitch, which is something he's done a decent amount of over the last few years. If I can find this number here, I believe it's about 11. Yeah, so it's 11.4%. When Zac Gallen in a 2-strike count throws a 4-seam fastball since July 1st, he's only getting a strikeout about 11% of the time compared to 22% in the first part of the season leading up to that point, which is basically in line with his career norms. So that's the other part of this with his fastball is it's not just, not throwing enough of them in the zone to get ahead. It's also that with 2 strikes, when you're trying to put guys away with it, he just hasn't been executing those pitches well enough. And it leads to kind of what we saw on Saturday with, 2-strike counts that just kind of drag on and on and on because he's not able to get them to, whiff at a curveball down in the zone. And if that doesn't work, you're trying to go with a fastball somewhere potentially. And he just hasn't been executing those pitches as well as we're used to seeing.
We all silly like the mayor.